Hariam, so let us begin. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. Yes, can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? We found the link and we can move ahead. Yes, please. Yes. Aditi ji, Johi ji, Rajiv ji, Chitra ji, anybody, if you can recollect something.
Yeah, I'll.
Okay, Chitra ji is volunteering. Okay, yeah, yes, please.
Yeah, so we saw questions where Dr. Nirodbaran was skeptical about everyone getting the ability to reach the highest level of consciousness and transformation. He quoted examples of Buddha, Chaitanya, and told that only avatars were capable of doing it, and not person anything lesser than that, like a beggar or someone like that. So he says that Sri Aurobindo says that the question also is little contradicting in terms of quoting or accepting Sri Aurobindo as an avatar or just a highly transformed ordinary human. In either case, it proves that if he could achieve in this terrestrial norms, others also should be able to achieve that. And he also says that he has no desire for even moksha, but it's more for a collective transformation. And that is the purpose of his yoga. And also, a non beggar is not denied the ability to transform, at least given the context of this argument. I mean, someone better than a beggar can also try to reach the level of transformation. So, that is something we saw. And Dr. Nirodbaran gives an example of a person whom he exclaims that he can never become Sri Aurobindo. So he says that he gets a response that that person can become his own identity of supramentalized version, and it is not something like a race that is growing beyond in the higher
Hmm.
consciousness. It's about the transformation of the psychic being and to open to the higher consciousness. And even if a fragment of that opens, it is not going to be causing any harm, or it's not something that it's not enough. So, and then again, we saw the question on avatars, where we understood that each avatar opened different planes of consciousness is something we saw it. Yeah.
Yes, see. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Sri Rama and Sri Krishna both function on different, they had different agendas. The avatar had in us one particular, what we can say, yojana. And according to that, that person was functioning. Like that avatar is not person, we can say, the divine was functioning. Sri Rama, we can say, was the ideal. He set up what we say Ram Rajya. He worked on the highest state of the mind, teaching people to bring about what is the highest the mind can reach. That's why he did not engage. Not that he was not capable of engaging in leelas and other things. He had the strength. We even got darshanas of the strength of our Godandarama, how powerful he was, that even the Samudra was afraid of the Kopa. But he walked, he did not suddenly use the Leelas. But Krishna as avatar had a different agenda. Sri Aurobindo is calling that level of consciousness which Krishna worked on as a over mental consciousness. Now, many times people make that wrong mistake. I think wrong, what we can say, division. This division is because of the Dvaita in the head only. So they suddenly start, and problem with Dvaita or division in this Bhed, when Krishna has told, na buddhi bhedam. But the Bhed comes because of Ahankar. Because of Ahankar, everywhere we start seeing divide, we divide between even man and God. Krishna is trying to bring about union. But that also division is made. Man is like this, man cannot become divine, there is no possibility. And Sri Aurobindo's yoga is for establishing that yes, this union of what our Yogeshwara has been telling us in the Gita, has been telling how Arjuna can become one with the divine. That union can be realized. Material transformation can take place. That stage of transformation is only the highest stage when material is also transformed after receiving the divine. The avyakta has become vyakta. That is the supramentalized state, and that is the state for which we are all working hard on trying to, what the entire purpose of sadhana is. That is what, but the Bhed makes us divide. So suddenly says, no, Rama is the lesser avatar than Krishna. These are all unnecessary. And in Krishna is also lesser. Some people say that is why some, even in Sri Aurobindo's time, his bhaktas would write like that. And Sri Aurobindo had properly corrected it. So it's important to understand. So these letters have to be taken in context. Somebody will quickly pull out something out of context. It may not make sense. So, and also we must understand whom it is being told to. Many times one thing being told to one person will mean something else to that person, and that person needs a particular way of being told. That same may not be applicable for another. So that is something very beautiful. That is why Krishna, Sri Aurobindo also, his dialogues with each person, with Nirodbaran doctor, he's different. With another sadhak, it was different. But that divide, no, that creates a problem, and that is what we see here. Dr. Nirodbaran is asking Sherwin. He's saying, no, 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 Muthu cannot become supramentalized. Muthu, according to them, they have made a typal being of a Jhaduwala who is not having any other higher consciousness. In their head, they have tried to fix it. This person cannot become like this. No chance of pragati. Sherwindo is saying, no. He's giving his own example. When his example is being given, no, you were great, you were avatar, you were different, you can do anything. You have to give believable examples. What does that mean? Krishna says Yadyad Acharati Shrestha, and gives his own example because we have to follow the example. If this way we reject all examples, then we will have nothing, isn't it? Sant Jnaneshwar is known across the world, Nanoba Mauli, because he is the mother figure teaching us so many things through his life, through the suffering. But I was very surprised when I just quoted Sant Jnaneshwar to somebody who was talking about a problem which is basically because of attachment. So that beautiful quote of whatever Sherwin or something Anishwar, I was just telling, look at his example, look at the sufferings that he went through despite being a divine. He said, no, no, you can't give their examples. So which example should we give then? Should we give his own example and suffer? Or we get the example to evolve? But this happens, and that is why, despite Sri Aurobindo again and again telling, he says, why does Muthu have to become a supramentalized Sri Aurobindo? Muthu can become a supramentalized Muthu. He says this is not a typal figure that you have to suddenly, make a mold, and then this is actually something which is very, very fluid, but that is not understood. So we'll see. It is going to, with this as the base, I think, let us begin the reading. Dr. Nirodban writes, he says, I would not mind your fury in revenge if only you would crush me with a convincing assault. Look at this beautiful relation, Guru and Shishya. This is something which is lovely. This is what is a ideal relationship. He has that freedom and he is utilizing that freedom to ask whatever question he wants. He says, I would not mind your fury in exchange, in revenge, if only you would crush me with a convincing assault. I hope to close the chapter on divine omnipotence with this last letter. But you keep me hoping with that promise of yours to write at length someday. So Sharon says, I will write sometime. Now, should he write only for Dr. Nirodbaran large essays, or he was so busy. Look at the volumes of work, and that was for the world. Even today, the world doesn't understand. I saw some very reverend scholars telling Sri Aurobindo also has not understood. Like, what have you understood is the biggest question when you say that, or he may have made mistakes because he is human. Find the mistakes, no? Just saying he may have made is a very easy statement to say that I may have become the Prime Minister of America also. Why India only? If I have to make a supposition or a very big claim, it needs to have some tarka, it needs to have some basis. And that is not found. So here he says no. And so Sri Aurobindo had been delaying because of other works. So he says, no, but this you are giving me hopes. But you keep me hoping with that promise of yours to write at length someday. Sri Aurobindo replies, peace, peace, O fiery, furious spirit, calm thyself and be at rest. Shanti mantra is being chanted. in a different way for Dr. Nirodbaran. Peace, peace, oh, fiery, furious spirit. Calm thyself, calm thyself and be at rest. Your fury or furiousness is wasted because your point is perfectly irrelevant to the central question on which all this breath, or rather ink, is being spent. Muttu and the sadhaks who want to equal or distance or replace the mother and myself and so need very badly middle Narayan oil. I think Madhyam Narayan oil was suggested. So he's again making a sarcastic remark and joke. So Muthu and sadhaks who want to equal or distance or replace the mother and myself and so need very badly the middle Narayan oil. There have been several, have appeared only as meaningless foam and froth on the excited crest of the dispute. I fear you have not grasped the internalities and modalities and casualties of my high and subtle reasoning. It is not surprising, as you are down in the troughs of the rigidly, logically illogical human response, while I am floating on the heights amid the infinite plasticities of the overmind and the lightning like subtleties of and swiftness of intuition. There, what do you think of that? So here is very sarcastically shown Dr. Nirodban how his logic is flawed. He is just saying, see, I'm so high in that high consciousness. And you are so low, you are so low that you will not understand. He's talking about how he's there in that overmind. And this is very classic sarcasm. We just read it once more. We just look at it once more. I fear you have not grasped the internalities and modalities and casualties of my high and subtle reasoning. It is not surprising, as you are down in the troughs of the rigidly, logically illogical human reason. Rigidly, logically illogical human reason. While I am floating on the heights amid the infinite plasticities of the overmind and lightning like subtleties and swiftness of the intuition. There, what do you think of that? However, this is like proper trolling before the trolling ever originated. More seriously, he says, I have not stated that any Muthu has equaled Ramakrishna, and I quite admit that Muthu here, in ipsa persona, has no chance of performing that feat. And he's not equal, he's like trying to clarify that he's not just saying equaling Muthu to Ramakrishna. And the current Muthu, who has no interest probably, which Sri Aurobindo can identify as a guru, he has no interest of raising the consciousness. He has no chance of performing that feat of becoming Ramakrishna because of the individual, not that he doesn't have the capacity or potential. This is very important, this part also, because this is a little sad, isn't it? The divine wants us to change, but we don't want to change. And so the divine cannot intervene. The divine cannot intervene and bring about that change. That's why sometimes people get Guru Diksha, they start walking on the path, they move 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead, and then they stop moving ahead. It is not because the Shakti of the Guru is not powerful or now the Guru is not taking interest in the Shishya. It is the Shishya who has now decided that I cannot walk, either consciously or subconsciously. It happens because of Ahankar, because of Tamas, sometimes Rajas, all these gunas and everything. So that is why Shravan says, okay, actually, I don't think it is possible that the current Muthu that we are looking at in his current state, he may not be equal to definitely Ramakrishna because Ramakrishna Paramahansa is such a high state of consciousness. He's also said, I have not said that anyone here can be Sri Aurobindo or the mother. I have pointed out what I meant when I objected to your explaining away my sadhana as a perfectly useless piece of avatarian fireworks. So, so he's not saying that some sadhaks have reached the state and same because immediately this letter will go and People, all the sadhaks would misinterpret it. Now I am going to be the next Sri Aurobindo. I have seen in a conference people talking about how they are going ahead of Sri Aurobindo. It was very funny. It was the only thing is it was not funny because they were not little kids talking. They were mature adults who had a following also. So that is a little dangerous situation. But this is what he's saying. He's saying, I told you that potential is there. I'm not saying anybody is equal. Both of them have done such great sadhana that probably the world will take some time to even recognize it. What we are reading today, another 50 years later, maybe people will understand even the occult aspects of what is the overmind and supermind. Nobody has gone so detailed deep into it yet. But he says, I just told you that potential because you were explaining away my sadhana or dismissing Sri Aurobindo sadhana as some avatarian fireworks. Perfectly useless piece of avatarian fireworks. In my comment on the Muthu logic, I simply pointed out that it was bad logic. That someone quite ignorant and low in the social scale can manifest a great spirituality and even a great spiritual knowledge. I hope you are not burgers enough to deny that or to contend that the divine or the spiritual can only manifest in somebody who has money in the pockets or some university education in his pate. So he's again pointing out the same thing. That no, it does not. Otherwise, all rich people only will be the great Adhyatmic sadhaks or all who have got PhD in will be the wisest person who has got biggest. I've already seen some people, their name is this much, followed by MBBS, MD, DNB, MD, MBA. It goes on. And are they the wisest? You have to go close to their family and ask their kids or friends. Then they will tell you. Anyway, let's continue. For the rest, as I myself have been pointing out all the time, there's a difference between essential truth and conditional truth, paramartha and vyavaharik. That is beautiful. Essential truth and conditional truth. Paramartha and Vyavaharik, the latter being relative and conditional and mutable. So, if we just want to look at this part, there is a difference between the essential truth and the conditional truth. Essential truth is the Paramarthik Satya. The conditional truth is the Vyavaharik Satya. Can somebody probably point out the difference between these two? Vyavaharik Satya and Paramarthik Satya. Anybody? In your own words, what do you think it could mean? So we can all better understand. Yes, please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Rajiv ji.
Actually, Paramarthik Satya is something that there is absolutely no difference between the two of us.
Hmm. Yeah.
We are one when we look at the Paramarthik point. But from a Vyavaharik point, we are different from one another. That is the
Ah,
Vyavahara. Okay.
yes.
Vyavahara,
Yes, sir.
I'm talking, you are listening. Okay. And the
Yes.
Paramarthik part is I'm talking and I'm listening through you.
Yes. Yes.
So there are no two in the Paramarthik view. Whereas
Means,
duality starts in the Vyavaharik view. So
okay.
that is why they are that is what I think.
All right. So that's a beautiful, what we can say, analogy given by Rajiv ji. Means there's no difference. We are one. We are one in chitta. We are one in consciousness. We are one in aspiration. We are one in so many ways. But for Vyavahar, I am wearing a different dress. Sir is wearing a different t-shirt. For Vyavahara, we are probably shishyas of different gurus. But
Exactly.
otherwise, we are the shishyas of the same guru only. We are having the same, what we can say, Aradhya also. Everything is one only. But just for the aspect on the outside. And that is very important. And again, it is, I think how Rajiv ji has said, it is that for the purpose of sometimes in like I think in engineering we have had what is the ideal equation and what is under standard conditions of temperature and pressure. These are the means is required. Both are required. Means ideal is the one on which everything is based. But for implementation, Because somebody will say the ideal gas does not exist at all. Then, so there is no point in having an ideal gas equation. You tell that to an engineer who is working on thermodynamics, he'll say, hey, everything is on this basis only. It is basis on this paramartha. It is on the basis of paramartha that all is happening. The Vyavahar, for Vyavahar purpose, we make small tweaks. We make some modifications so that we can establish, we can develop a particular design for maybe an engine, whatever cycle it is. So this is something. So let us continue.
Actually,
So yes, sir.
yeah, there's one thing which is coming to my mind. Maybe this is uh, see in the Gita there is a shlok karmanye vadhikaraste ma
Hmm.
phaleshu kadachana.
Ji, sir.
From a Vyavharik standpoint, when we come into the zone of karma,
Hmm.
okay, that is the only right that we have, and that is what we
Yes.
are supposed to be doing.
Ah.
And I think maybe uh, that is exactly what Aurobindo is also trying to tell him, that this right to work towards that exists with
Ah.
everybody. And when
Ah.
you're looking at it from a different point of view, that whatever is happening, divine is doing all that, and divine has made somebody, and divine has done. He's saying it is not just that way. I mean, he has also worked to come up to that particular position, and that opportunity is karmanye vadhikaraste.
It's equally
So
present. Look, Krishna
all
says,
of
I
us
am
have a right.
equidistant.
Yeah, all
Ji,
of us
sir.
have a right to go into that path and
The
achieve that
adhikar.
greatness.
We
It
have the
all
adhikar.
depends on the effort.
Yes, yes. Meaning any one of us, if we decide, even Muthu, if Muthu decides,
Yes,
Paramarthik Satya is that if Muthu decides, he can become a supramental Muthu.
exactly.
But for Vyavaharik purpose, the divine has only Sri Aurobindo said, I don't think this maybe in this
Correct.
Janama he will become equal to Ramakrishna because for Vyavaharik purpose, Muthu is probably cultivating his Ahankar, Muthu is allowing lower consciousness to manifest, and so he is not going to get the chance.
Correct. And Dr. Nirodbaran, with all the limitations of duality, is an
Ji.
observer who is
Ah.
giving his comments that this is like this,
Yes,
and he's attributing a reason to that. That reason
yes,
is basically saying the divine, and the divine does not
yes,
have the potence
yes.
to make
There's actually a
somebody.
lot of,
So,
yes, sir. It's a
so
great source of enjoyment, and everybody, whenever they read this dialogue between Guru and Shishya, they almost everybody just gives out a big hearty laugh. Even the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashrams was actually, she said, I did not know about this side of Sri Aurobindo because he was so secret. He was so, it was not known to anybody. They all knew him as a non-smiling saint. But if you look at his word, my avatarian, useless, perfectly useless piece of my avatarian fireworks. He's calling his
so
sadhana.
he's saying that you're discrediting me of all the work that I have done in order to,
Yeah,
elevate
to fit
myself
your
to
logic.
that particular level. You're saying this is
Yes,
just a stroke of the divine which has actually brought about.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
he doesn't like it that way.
yes. There was this tennis player, isn't it? Who's retired right now, Roger Federer. He was so
Yeah.
elegant. He really got annoyed when people would say effortless. His
Ah,
game is effortless. He said, "What do you mean by effortless?"
effortless.
He's put in so much
Exactly.
effort to get that stage. So that very line would make him very annoyed
Correct.
because he has risen. And in the Gita also, we can say Yoga Rudha is the one who has gone ahead. He has gone ahead with karma only.
Correct.
The beginner
That is very
beginner
true.
also begins with karma and moves ahead. The advanced person also has reached that state by the karma. So karma is something which cannot, and that is also it is both paramarthik also and vyavaharik also
And
satya
Vyavaharik
that we
also.
cannot ignore. We have to.
Correct.
We have to. It will remain in both places. Let us
Yes.
continue. In mathematics, one works out problems in infinite and in unreal numbers, which exist nowhere on earth. And yet, these are extremely important and can help scientific reasoning and scientific discovery and achievement. The question of a Muthu becoming a Ramakrishna, that is a great spiritual man, may look to you like being an exercise in unreal numbers or magnitudes because it exceeds the actual observable facts in the case of this Muthu, who is who very evidently is not going to be a spiritual man. But we are arguing. One second. But we are arguing in the matter of essential principle. I was pointing out that in the essentiality, all things are possible. So you ought not to say the divine cannot do this or that. Means that is what shared in those words, all is possible. When all can be possible, when the God touch is there. This is something we should also remember. We many times say this is not possible. This manifestation cannot happen. This is just a dream. It will never come true. I don't think we have that right also to dismiss it off. We are doing it something out of our understanding of which is limited. If the divine wishes, anything can happen, and we must be ready for that. We must be ready for that and not dismiss it, because sometimes dismissing it is also a karma which we are only creating, and we are making it more druda. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. Arey, what japa are we doing? Why are we doing this japa? It cannot happen. If the divine wishes, it can happen. Whatever it is, we have to focus on something else. So Shervindu has also talked about not denying this, denying a possibility. And the beautiful aspect of life also is that so many possibilities are there which manifest at every given point. We have that. So many, we can say we have heard pancha factors which define. The Karana also is there, the Karma also is there, Sharira is also part. So many factors, when they work together in tandem, the divine will, everything manifests a factor. So 100 possibilities are always there in any situation. Let us be aware of it, and let us, instead of saying divine cannot manifest something, let us easily say, let the divine will be done. It's much more easier. We can become a proper observer. Right now, observer should also not be biased, no? Dr. Nirodbaran is using as being an observer and still putting his logic only into it, not being a third person. That's what Shervindu is trying to clarify to him again and again. So let's continue. So you ought not to say the divine cannot do this or that. But at the same time, I was pointing out too that the divine is not bound to show his omnipotence without rhyme or reason when he is working by his own will under conditions. Divine has a yojana, divine has a plan. Just because I say, Bhagwan, tumhara aaj pariksha hai, so immediately he's going to leave everything and okay, yeah, so Shrut should feel satisfied. His ahankar should be fulfilled. Or he's also, oh my God, exam is there for me. That's not how God is going to react. He is going to live on he's going to function according to his plan and yojana. He's not bound. He's not bound to show if I'm capable. Anybody comes and say, I bet you cannot jump this much, this high. Will you immediately start jumping on the street if somebody comes and tells you? You say, go do whatever you want. I will jump when I want to. I will jump how high I want to. I will not depend on your condition. I'm much more, what we can say, independent or mukta. That is how the divine is. For by arguing that the divine cannot, that he is is impotent, that he cannot do what has never yet been done, etc., you deny the possibility of changing conditions, of evolution, of the realization, of the unrealized, of the action of divine power, of divine grace, and reduce all to a matter of rigid and unalterable status quo. This, at least, we should not do in our lives. This is nothing, this is not happening. ये जन्म तो मेरा चला गया. अभी कुछ नहीं होगा. Bhagwan will only say Tadhastu. You don't have to jinx yourself or try to prevent the divine. And this rigidity is what is the rigidity of the mind, which feels what has not happened so far can never happen again. This has always been happening like this, so it is going to, or I am destined to suffer because I am in this kula, I am destined because of this situation, because of that. It's not required. Possibility is open, and there are so many possibilities. I'm always reminded of the case of one very, what we can say, very recent case of maybe couple of years back only. A sister shared her medical report, and it always comes to mind. because that time she just showed me her report on WhatsApp. I got the message and I had a 15-20 minute conversation. I was myself a little bit in tears just looking at that situation because it was a very serious report of cancer. And she said, how can I dream? She was like, this report is everything, it's all right. I want to think good will happen to me. I want to think I will have a good life ahead. But this report, which is in concrete, which is in physical, which is in, we call it Vyavaharik Satya if we want to, in terms of what we have seen. This is showing a Vyavaharik Satya that I am not going to have a life ahead. Doctor has given me, according to his Vyavaharik Gyan, that I have 4 or 5 months only to live. And she said, what about, I had a dream of starting a family. I want to do something. I want to get married, maybe have children. What about that? How can I even have that in light of this Vyavaharik Satya? I myself didn't have the answer to that question. I am not somebody who's an expert in the medical field. I said, but we cannot, nobody can tell us that you can't dream. I said, this much at least. You see, this is true. I'm not denying this Vyavaharik Satya that your report has given this result to you. This is something which I didn't talk in this much length, but I just said nobody in the world should tell you you cannot dream because of certain conditions, because of certain situations, because of certain rigidities, because of certain limitations, social construct, physical limitation, emotional limitation, all of this. No other force is required to stop you because who can prevent us from dreaming? Nobody. Nobody, and it is a dream that has allowed people to rise. Mankind has sought what? This supreme Satya, that is also a aspiration of man. And that is what we see here. It says you should not, the action of the divine power, of the divine grace, and reduce all of it to a matter of rigid, unalterable status quo. You cannot deny it like that. Which is an insolent defiance to both fact and reason and supra reason. See now, about myself and the mother. There are people who say if the supramental is to come down, it can come down in everyone. Why then in them first? Why should we not get it before they do? Why through them, not direct? It sounds very rational, very logical, very arguable. Because this sadhana which was being done, well, why should it even manifest in the Sri Aurobindo and Mother first? Why cannot supramental come down in everybody? That's a very logical. Sri Aurobindo is even saying this all counter argument against himself also as a very logical one. It is also very rational, it is sounding. And it's very arguable. He's not denying that argument. I mean, this is also something we can learn, isn't it? The moment somebody tells something bad about us or somebody tells something opposite, you are like this, you are evil, you are selfish, you think like this only. We get disturbed emotionally. Oh, this person called me selfish. I'm not selfish. How can this person tell this? I am like this particular way. How can this person, how dare that person say, or we either get angry or we get emotional. But Sharindra is very arguable, meaning it's all right. No, somebody has the right to say you're selfish. Today, somebody will call you selfish. Tomorrow, somebody will call you selfless. They are calling you should not make a difference to what you are. What you are going to be that. And this should not be based on the outer aspect. And you should be ready with arguments. Actually, the best thing is if you are ready for the opposite views against yourself, you are ready to go next stage in consciousness also. You are ready to rise. If you are not able to tolerate criticism, if you are not able to tolerate what we can say opposition, then you are very, very rigid on the inside. That is why you are not tolerating it. But that does not mean because you have to tolerate, you have to become a punching bag. Vyavaharik Satya is there, no? So in your Vyavaharik Satya, whatever your ID is, whatever for that reason, say you are representing an organization, somebody tells you something against which is the spirit of the organization. You don't have to have the palpitation on the inside, but you have to take your action. Like this morning, I got chased by dogs and they were really chasing quite. I thought, let's slow down. And then both the dogs came very close to my leg. Now, what to do? I just slowed down, got down, and looked at them and stared at them very angrily. And then they walked away. And I was a little bit on my way back laughing. So you also stared at the dog like the dog was at you. You both had the same. That was my dialogue. But that was required, isn't it? If I tried to accelerate too fast, the dog was close to my leg. I would have tried to reach out. Instead, that time it was easier to stop. But if I had again forgotten Vyavahar, just because I'm like this, I would have gone faster or maybe hit somewhere if I was not alert. So I'm not making this a SOP, but I'm saying is in the practical, we should be able to deal with what is required. But while dealing with it, we cannot forget what is the highest truth. Just please give me one moment. Yeah, there is going to be some network drop for a moment. Just if I can solve it, I will just try. Let's continue till then. Yeah. So this is what. Yeah, just a moment, please. I'll try to ensure that does not happen. If anybody has anything you wish to ask or share, you are welcome till then. Just give me 2 minutes. Yeah. Are you able to hear me? Yes. All
Yes.
right, then I think then it will not get disconnected now. Yes, please. Supra reason. You see now? About mother and myself, there are people who say if the supramental is to come down, it can come down in everyone. Why then in them first? Why should we not get it before they do? Why through them, not direct? It sounds very rational, very logical, very arguable. The difficulty is that this reasoning ignores the conditions, foolishly assumes that one can get the supramental down into oneself without having the least knowledge of what the supramental is, and so supposes an upside down miracle. Everybody who tries is bound to land himself in the most horrible cropper, as all have done hitherto who tried it. So what is it? It is an ignorant condition because it is just ignorant because assuming that one can get without knowledge, they can get the supramental realization by a miracle. This is actually a very dangerous aspect. Yes, sir, Rajivji. Yes, sir.
Actually, this is reminding me that people lead their lives without reading the Gita,
Yeah,
without bothering to read the Gita, because that
yeah.
is the Prakriti here is the conditions that you need to
Hmm.
understand. What are the natural laws of nature which are there? How the whole thing is drawing you. So, without understanding that, without going into all these details, without knowing God, uh, you are just making a statement that why only them and why not us? So he's
Hmm.
saying if you're going to expect that it happens to you, then it is expecting a miracle upside down.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
what he said. So very
Yeah.
actually he is doing
He
it
gives
with
a
a
very
lot of
good examples, no? The similes
yeah.
also, they are
He's
pinpoint.
being very patient and
Uh,
he's
this is something we
explaining
have
why.
lost, I think, sir. I think we have lost this in the current generation, at least I can say about, I don't know, Rajivji, what is your experience? Do you see the same thing? The patience of listening to an opposite perspective. Has it come down?
It has come down.
It has come down, isn't it, sir? Yes, because now all we'll do
Actually,
is
the thing
immediate
is that
block. Yes,
see
sir.
from the exalted position where Sir Aurobindo is,
Yeah,
he is coming down to the level of Nirodbaran, trying to understand where he is coming from, and then try
yeah.
to tell you okay, how he is wrong in that particular manner. And so it is done with a lot of patience.
Yes, and he is not denying the divinity inside of Dr. Nirodbaran, and that is why he is allowing, he says, yes, this divinity will manifest. Dr. Nirodbaran will do wonderful work ahead. There was no
Yes,
plan, or there was never a thought that this would ever become a book. No? It was never
correct.
thought, not even conceived. Nobody would have conceived. Sri Aurobindo would not have, he's not because of that he is doing it. He's just recognizing and he says, yes. Means this shows means how not only humility, but there's also faith. There's also a goodwill that let this soul rise. And this is something which we also must understand. Otherwise, most of the time, no, I don't have time. This is not important for me. Whether it's important for us or whether it is not, that is Vyavaharik aspect. Paramarthik, is it important for the cause? Is it important for the mission? Is it important for the divine will to manifest? Or is there a special condition that divine will can manifest only when I am free? Divine will can manifest only in people I like. Divine will manifest only through interactions which are going to make me happy. It is this aspect of rigidity. I think we must learn from Sri Aurobindo's speech that you see, he says it's arguable. Even the opposite argument is acceptable. Sometimes our own dear ones talk something bad about us. Sometimes our own dear ones try to say something that we are like this, we are like that. We get frustrated maybe because of emotions, because of probably our past connections, X, Y, Z factors. But why not look at it in one more point? Maybe that person is true. What maybe that person is true from that person's point of view. It may not be a Paramaharshik Satya. For that, Vyavaharik Satya. Say, I want my friend to come with me for, say, playing. I call him. He says, no, I don't want to come. So I say, you are a useless fellow. I don't like you at all. Now, from my point of view, it is he is useless. He's not coming to play with me. So I don't like him at all. But that is not, that is just a Vyavaharik Satya. If my friend is going to say, you call me useless, so henceforth friendship is, I'm going to unfriend you, I'm going to block you, no direction, no connection. We're going to lose out. We're going to lose out a chance of what? A beautiful friendship will be lost. A yoga is going to be lost. Yoga is what? Union, isn't it? And Krishna and Yoga, Krishna and Arjuna come together, great dialogues take place like that when people come together. It is not in the numbers, whether it is two or whether it is 200, but the level of the union which is important. Big organizations may have so many people, and yet that union is not established inside of the organization, then it will not manifest. So for that, they should have that tendency of listening to opposite opinions. Sometimes the least favorable opinion, maybe this person may not be having the experience, may not have, but it's all right. Let that person speak and deal it on the matter of tarka. Look at, analyze both what is paramartha, what is vyavahara, but never reject it. That is something we can definitely learn from Sri Aurobindo. Yes, everybody who tries it is bound to land himself in a most horrible cropper, as all have done hitherto who tried it. It's like thinking one need not follow the guide, but can reach up to the top of the mountain from the narrow path one is following on the edge of a precipice by simply leaping into the air. The result is inevitable. What is going to happen? Well, it is dangerous. It is dangerous. In sadhana also sometimes without a guide, I'm going to do my sadhana because I am greatest. I am better than the best. I have the power. I've seen so many people. Mahakali's Sancharan is happening through me. Whether it is Mahakali or it is something else, it is a lower force. Why is this person getting derailed? When Mahakali is there, you will also see the grace of Mahakali. The Raudra is also, Rupa is also there, grace is also there, everything is there, love is also there. All these aspects will happen when the instrument is ready. And for that, guide is required. Margadarshan is required. Along with Margadarshan, there are the efforts are also required. Otherwise, it's just like, it's like a beautiful example. You try to jump and I should be free. If you jump off the mountain, what's going to happen? You'll crash. That's why sadhaks also, they try to pull in more than they are capable of, based on ahankar only. They get into meditation and try to get more and more. I want to go deeper, deeper. But what is the ground for which it's happening? And then it results in chaos, absolute chaos. And it's dangerous and it is very difficult to bring them back to right track. Even gurus sometimes find it difficult because Ankar is so strong, nothing can be done. Let's continue. About greater and less, one point is Captain John Higgins of SS Mauritania a greater man than Christopher Columbus because he can reach America without trouble in a few days. He's a university graduate in philosophy greater than Plato because he can reason about problems and systems which had never even occurred to Plato. No, only humanity has acquired greater scientific power which any good navigator can use, or a wider intellectual knowledge which anyone with a philosophic training can use. You will say greater scientific power and wider knowledge is not a change of consciousness. Very well, but there are Rama and Ramakrishna. Rama spoke always from the thinking intelligence, the common property of developed men. Ramakrishna spoke constantly from a swift and luminous spiritual intuition. Can you tell me which is greater? The avatar recognized by all India, or the saint and yogi recognized as an avatar only by his disciples and some others who follow them? It's a rhetoric question. You cannot say like this. Sri Aurobindo is clearly telling. Nirodbaran, he writes next letter. He says, I am a little taken aback to hear about that, hear that a certain note of persiflage dilutes the grave discussion I am having with you. So immediately Sri Aurobindo replies, he says, look here, don't tell me that because you are a doctor, therefore you can't understand a joke. It would have the effect of making me dreadfully serious. This is rather rude. He says, just because you are saying you are a doctor. This is sometimes it happens. No? What our profession is, it becomes means people are whatever professions they are. Professor remains professor in college, but some professors become professor in their home also. Doctor also, even when the doctor is not in the hospital, you will see a stethoscope or a phantom stethoscope, aura of stethoscope around because I am now this. Yes, don't tell me just because you're a doctor you can't understand a joke. Otherwise, I'll become serious. Nirodhan replies, I'm sorry I can't detect the adulteration of the divine philosophy with persiflage. My medical appliance is hardly capable of doing it. He says, no, I'm not very capable. Sri Aurobindo 6 says, a sense of humor, not grim, ought to be a sufficient appliance. This is something, one of the reasons why we see the humor aspect, because humor is something which is very important. Sri Aurobindo himself has said this, and he's also engaging in it. Can anybody tell me why humor is good on the spiritual path? Anybody? Yes. How can humor help on the spiritual path? Because humor, we remember in schools, we used to crack in when the teacher is teaching something and then we've got punishment for it, or we crack jokes at somebody. Now, what is this to do with spirituality and how can it help? Anybody? Krishna also was having a smile when Arjuna was having a breakdown. Arjuna is dearest one having a biggest breakdown, and we see Prahasanniva Bharata. Yes, sir, Rajiv ji. Yes, sir, please tell me, sir.
Actually, in this path of spirituality, and especially those who have a very good understanding of it, looking from their point of view, they see humor in what is actually happening, the struggles also, and those things. There is a certain amount of humor because of the ignorance that is there, and that ignorance brings about a certain kind of humor in the situation. When people look at it very
Ignorance in
seriously,
the people, is it, sir? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Okay.
the way they comprehend a particular situation, like it's a matter of life and death. Whereas
Okay.
somebody who is more spiritually inclined would completely see that as from a very different point of view. He would say there would be a smile on his face when he's trying to explain him the reality that is there.
Okay, so the truth is higher truth is visible when we are having a little bit of humor. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
uh, like when we laugh, we have to be in the moment and free from
Okay.
our own self, our past, our trauma. So
Okay. Uh-huh.
can be in the moment and laugh freely and enjoying humor, then that means that we have achieved some sense of freedom. So
Okay. Freedom from the. Okay.
from
We
our
are
own
probably
self,
correcting.
from our
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
ego.
Uh,
So
all
can
right.
yeah.
Very
So
well said.
Beautifully
Yes.
said, Aditi ji. Yes.
Uh,
Yes. It's like a one beautiful detachment. It's a beautiful quote. When you realize how perfect everything is, you tilt your head and laugh at the sky.
yeah.
When I
Correct.
first read this, I was in a very bad shape. I had not met Damliji yet. I was commanding my own life journey. I had plans that before 21, I have to achieve certain things. Otherwise, my intellectual abilities will deteriorate after 21. That was my understanding. So I have to quickly achieve everything, and then nothing was happening, and frustration, everything. And when I read this course, it was attributed to the Buddha. I said there must be two possibilities. One, he has realized something really big, or two, something is really wrong in his head. That was one of the two. And the second possibility is not right, is what I understood from so many people have understood in his teaching. And somewhere that time that was my understanding, but I never really quite understood what it is. But then when I went to Damliji, one of the first things he would repeat a line, आज के आनंद की जय. Or 1 month, or how a one saint in Maharashtra, he would always begin. He would just give examples. Mana karare prasanna. Keep your minds happy. These were how these were simple things, but later on it was something which is it was very useful. I remember like difficult moments. Suddenly you are able to, if you are able to have a sense of humor. I think Aditi ji gave a beautiful point that we get detached from that gravity of this means you have to be sincere. You don't have to be serious. If you're sincere, you can deal with difficult problems also. And best part is if you can laugh at yourself, you can crack jokes at your own expense. I mean, we see Sri Aurobindo cracking jokes about himself also so easily. He says, I am like this, I am like that, and all of that. How can someone do that? Well, that way you are not disturbed. I think Aditi hit the, we can say, right nail at the right wish is really, that's something which we should understand probably. And let's have a humor about ourselves also. Be ready to crack jokes, at least to ourselves. Don't crack it in front of your enemies, they will get their enough fuel to trouble you more, but at least to yourself. It's easy, it's easier that way, and things become lighter. Probably that is something we can probably be ready to slowly rise from that little smile or something to maybe Ananda also, which is higher. So he says a sense of humor, not grim, ought to be sufficient appliance. Then Nirodban says, no doubt I enjoy heartily the humor, but I should like to be able to suck up the cream and give the rest its proper place. You see, the cream, the persiflage, the cream equal to the persiflage. The rest is the solemn part of the argument. So he's saying you don't have to deny this humor as anything. This whatever banter which Sherbindo is, he's saying what Nirodbaran was. I don't know why he was saying it. Also, he was trying to. He said, no. I'm not able to grasp the higher spiritual truth because you're mixing it. You're mixing it with playful jokes. Then Sherbindo said, okay, then I'll become very serious. You should be ready then. No. I want to enjoy humor, but you see, I can't separate. I don't understand when the humor is there, when it is not. It is confusing. Sri Aurobindo says that humor only is the most important part. The rest is just a solemn argument. Immediately, Nirodban has the next letter. He says, I would like to know something about my bad logic before I write anything further to you. Sri Aurobindo is saying, you tell me about my bad logic. I remember one person asking, what is thinking? Now, how do you answer that question? What is thinking? See, I think, no, what do you mean by what you think about thinking, or what is it? It's something like that. He says, what is bad logic? But Sri Aurobindo has not got annoyed. He's taken it with, we can say, a spirit of humor, and is responding. Let us see what he says. We'll stop with what is bad logic. Maybe that will be, like Damriji says, Durjanam Prathamam Vande Sajjanam Tadanantaram, or sometimes what is wrong or what you should not do. If you learn, that is also sufficient. So let us see what is. I'm not calling anybody Durjan here. Just remember the quote, which is our Dr. Sher. This Nirodbaran is absolutely a great example. We can one of the Shreshtas whose acharan we can follow if we want to reach that high consciousness. It's all right. It's not wrong what he's doing. Shervindo replies. He says, helps to finding out your bad logic. I give instances expressed or implied in your reasonings. Oh my God, he is quoting exactly. This is bad logic. Where you, let's see. Bad logic number one. Because things have not been, therefore they can never be. This is bad logic. Bad logic number two. Because Sri Aurobindo is an avatar, his sadhana can have no meaning for humanity. Bad logic number three. What happens in Sri Aurobindo's sadhana cannot happen in anybody else's sadhana. That is neither descent, nor realization, nor transformation, nor intuitions, nor budding of new powers or faculties. Because Sri Aurobindo is an avatar and the sadhaks are not. Bad logic number four. A street beggar cannot have any spirituality, or at least not so much as, let us say, a university graduate. Because, well, one doesn't know why the hell not. So it's still logic. There's no reason, means in his bad logic, he's not even giving a reason why it cannot happen. Then bad logic number five. And last, because of want of space, because he has to write inside of the paper, no? Shrivindu had to cramp his writing and make it fit. Bad logic. And he's writing it last because of space. Otherwise, I can go on writing a grantha only of all the bad logics you are having. He says, last because of want of space. Because I am a doctor, I can't see a joke when it is there. The latest one. So this we are, I think we can probably call it a day today. One second, there is echo here. Yeah. So this aspect of bad logic is something which is sometimes we also make bad logics, and we drive home points because of bad logic. This is like this. This is like this. I think we should at least, if we see these five logics, at least which Shervindu has told, we can. If we'll just look at that in light of our own lives. If you see number one, because things have not been, they can never be. Because something has not happened in my life, because every time things have always been happening like this, they're always going to happen that way only. That's again a wrong thing, isn't it? We cannot deny the divine's manifestation. When the divine enters into our life, transformation takes place. How does it take place? I think we should experience it. And when we experience it, we should not use bad logic further to deny that experience. Instead, we will experience and enjoy the experience without jinxing it also. You have to understand. Things have not been does not mean it will never happen. It can happen anytime. Number two, because Sri Aurobindo is an avatar, his sadhana can have no meaning for humanity. Both these statements, Sri Aurobindo is like an avatar for many of us, yes. But Sri Aurobindo himself did not call himself an avatar. Why is that? There is a simple reason, because that would again make a difference. Or even if you see Krishna also as his as the avatar, he says, I am coming for what? For humanity only, isn't it? The avatars also are working for humanity. Why I am not able to declare Sri Aurobindo is an avatar, is not an avatar, because I don't know the depth of which Sri Aurobindo has done the work. It is so vast beyond my understanding. Not, and so I am nobody to declare. But the fact that his sadhana is not applicable for humanity is the most silliest of arguments. Many times we see that See what have his Shishyas done, how much great transformation has happened if he has talked about such a high yoga. Why aren't his Shishyas already bringing about that transformation? People don't know what his Shishyas are doing. All of them are not on the surface, they're not showing. They don't have a Sankhya with to show. Many of them are across the world doing works silently, quietly, and whose works? Divine's works. Whether we understand or we don't understand, it will be present. So that is the second number point. Point number two. Point number three. What happens in Sri Aurobindo's sadhana cannot happen in anybody else's sadhana, meaning neither descent, nor realization, nor transformation, nor intuition, nor budding of new powers or faculties, just because Sri Aurobindo is an avatar. By others' sadhana, let us look at our own sadhana. Can we not experience a descent of consciousness, higher consciousness into us? Yes, we can experience that descent of higher consciousness. Can we not get a realization? We can get a realization. We can experience a transformation of our personality. Yes, it is 100% possible. Intuition, it can come to us. We have to become receptive. We should realize we want to go beyond the mind. We will also be able to. New faculties, new powers which are not there inside of us. Yes, Rajiv ji wants to say something. Yes, sir. Please tell me, sir. I think I saw your hand up. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think you can finish the last 2 points and then so that.
Right, sir. So then the next fourth point is a street beggar cannot have any spirituality compared to a graduate. That is so far away from the truth. Krishna has said Vasudevam Sarvamiti. We cannot deny just because of an outer appearance. This person is not so great. In the same conference, there was a very elderly person who was looking like a simple man and he did not show anything. Very simple clothes, and he just spoke with so much humility. I liked what he said, so I just went together and I asked him his name. All right, fine. He just introduced me by his name, and I said, "Thank you, sir. Your point was very nice." But he was being talked very roughly by somebody who is a medical doctor because his degree is more, he's got something. He was speaking in a brash manner, and I thought this person is, it was wrong. I even later on told him I think it was wrongly done. He also didn't respond to all of that, but he was just light smile. Then I asked him, who is this person? He's given him his name. You know, he is the vice chancellor of the university. But look at that quietude, look at that silence. So this is different. This is not something we do not have to ever give an outer appearance or just because we feel somebody is like this from the outside. Never ever do that. Especially in sadhana, we'll sometimes fall hard on our face if we do like that. Cannot dismiss the divine. The last part, and that is especially for a doctor, it can also be for an engineer also. It can be for any human being because I am a human being, I cannot understand a joke. I think we should not become like that. We don't have to become tight-lipped. I'm doing this sadhana. Many times when people start doing ghor tapasyas or upasanas, you see their clothes also change, their way of talking also change, their eyes also change. Everywhere they are showing that. It's not required. You can have it on the inside. Adhyatma and all should be kept as secret as you can on the inside. Your inner levels and everything, you can keep it so quiet. Nobody needs to know. It's something very personal. And as far as jokes, plenty of them, you should be ready to experience them. At least joke about yourself. It's useful. Personally, I have felt very useful because every time I would flop, I would say, yes, this is according to Jyotishacharyas. I was born on a very special yog, Mahapopat Yog. So every time I will experience, so every time something funny happens, I mean, bad happens, I call it funny and I can take it in the stride. So it is actually a great weapon to have humor. Greatest if you can have humor about yourself only. What will anybody make fun of you? I am only making fun of myself. End of story. Yes. Yes, sir. Please, Rajiv ji, you were adding something important. Yes, sir.
See, actually, while reading these points, uh, I think what Sri Aurobindo is trying to tell us is don't look at me as an avatar. Look at my sadhana. And each one of you has got an equal opportunity to reach wherever I have reached if you follow this particular sadhana. Now,
Yeah.
this is said so beautifully here because there are many avatars. And these avatars also, Krishna as an avatar was also trying to give a process of actually reaching him. And that is the Gita, basically. So, what most people do is idealize them in terms of,
Mhm.
put them in a position wherein you just fold your hands and look up at them and say that, okay, do something for me. I mean, that is normally what. In fact, what they are going to say is that, yes, don't do that. Do whatever is the process that is set. And you have an equal right to reach wherever I have reached. So these are very clearly mentioned by Sri Aurobindo. And I'm really happy to see this actually. So
Jesus.
nicely he has put it actually.
Absolutely.
And this is what
Jesus.
has happened with most of the people who are self-realized souls. Let's say if we are talking of Jesus,
Yeah.
I mean, the way he reached that particular position, there are very few around him who did that.
Mhm.
So they were not exactly able to understand the process through which he had reached there. And then,
Mhm.
we just keep on following
Yeah. We
something.
respect God and we keep God far away from us. In that,
Exactly.
we keep a protocol. Now, if I
Correct.
have to go to, I have to go. And if he's there as a friend, you can enjoy that. Why not? But that is lost. I think that's a great point,
Exactly.
Rajiv ji said.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Anybody would like to summarize what we have seen today, and we conclude with the Shanti Mantra immediately after that. Also, if any queries are there, you are welcome.
Okay, I'll
All right. Yes,
summarize.
Chitraji, most welcome.
Yeah, so on divine omnipotence, because there was a question that previously we had seen that divine works in different planes and it's not uh, equal in all the planes. So on that, an elaborate answer was something that we saw today. And Sri Aurobindo points out that there's the faults and the rigidity in the thinking of Dr. Nirodbaran. Just because Vyavaharik Satya looks something else, it doesn't really have to be the absolute truth, as something we saw. And he gives the example of concepts of infinity in mathematics. Just because they are not something physically present, it doesn't mean that the logic is rejected. So, and similar is the case with Muthu. So, if the divine wills, it can happen, and he can also get transformed. And expecting the divine to show his power is not something right, as there are conditions that he has set, and he's not bound to prove his powers. And as to arguments on why Sri Aurobindo and Mother should receive the supramental thing first and not someone else, it's because this has to be received in certain conditions, and if it reaches the wrong hands, it can cause more harm than good, is something we saw. And yeah,
And
something related.
more than wrong hands also, without a effort, no? Without
Mm,
effort, knowledge will not come. Without trying to experience detachment, where will we understand the real meaning of the higher relation with the divine? So without efforts, it will not happen.
mm, I think these were the
Yeah.
important things
Yes,
that.
absolutely. Perfectly summarized. Thank you, Chitraji. So with this, I think we conclude with the Shanti Mantra. If anybody has any queries, you are welcome after that. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं पुनर्मिलामः looking
Hariom.
forward to next Sunday to see what Nirodbaran doctor has much further to say. I think a lot of humor is there, which is something a high point of the discussion. But we slowly enter into Sri philosophy.
Thank
Then we can
you.
enjoy Sri philosophy in the ocean of its wisdom. It's something which otherwise we'll drown if we do not know how to swim. Yes. All right. See you.
Hariom.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Namaskar.